Hi, this is Jennifer, and today we're going to talk about Jim Burke's class management. We're going to talk about the classroom management, instruction, differentiation, discipline, and other issues from his book. So he begins talking about classroom management, and he really stresses to create clear policies regarding behavior and enforce them consistently and model the policies. So he would like to do that through communicating discipline policies as soon as possible. This could be in the syllabus, and to enforce these policies completely, and to attend all details regarding behavior, movement, and interaction. This can be through visual contact, moving around different areas of the room so students can see that you're paying attention to detail. Call particular students aside if there's an issue. Do not publicly humiliate them. That could be through sarcasm, anything. And write notes to students if they're misbehaving so you don't have to call them out in front of the class. Then he goes into instruction. So he begins by telling us to use the time before class to prepare and set up. So this would be time to greet your students and write the homework on the board or write any lessons that you have on the board. Set up overhead projector. I also think it's important to review the material and have all the copies prepared. And then to take care of logistic and administrative details at the very beginning of class. So this includes taking roll, announcements, collecting documents, checking homework, checking in with students. And I also think reading them is important. And maintain a flexible routine before class. So students come in and understand what is expected of them at the beginning of class. And end the period productively before the bell. So post homework on the board. Have an emergency plan just in case you end class early, and use the final minutes to reflect and discuss your topic of the day and explain homework and clarify. Then he goes into instruction, and he says to describe and demonstrate each strategy or technique so students know what they're expected before, after, and during the lesson or activity, and demonstrate the language you want them to use when writing or speaking by using it yourself. So if you want them to use terms such as a conclusion I am drawing, or use specific vocabulary in math, that could be variable, that could be slope, and provide a clear sequential explanation of what to do and how to do it. So this could either be you give them a handout that lists everything that you want them to do, or even listing it on the board. And use visual devices. That could include Desmos for math, which is great for students to see graphs, listing it on the board, and or the overhead projector. And then provide background knowledge for students. So connecting what they already know to something about the lesson you're teaching to give them some background knowledge. Then he goes into differentiation. So this is using a variety of methods to teach students concept. Students learn differently. He describes the different types of learners, but by bringing in variety into the classroom, such as numerical representation, visual explanations, dramatic interpretations, essential questions, also technology, and employ a range of instructional modes. So you can demonstrate, you can read, have them investigate, discuss as a class, construct maybe in groups, and use a variety of group formats. So he talks about the formal and informal. So formal would be each member has a specific role and maybe you choose the groups for them. And informal can be a quick temporary group they're working on maybe a few questions in math. Then he talks about discipline, which is discuss what behavior is appropriate in a specific situation. He discusses how it's most effective at the very beginning of class, or at the very beginning when the year begins. and be very clear and consistent with your policies so students understand this is what's expected of them because I'm constantly reassuring. And be fair and flexible. So listen to students and what they have to say before assuming consequences. And provide students with feedback on their behavior. So this could be praising or wow, you did great, or clarifying, telling them, this is how I want you to behave, and correcting them on bad behavior. You can also discipline them just through gestures. So moving close, moving them to another area, maybe hand signals, and model for students what they should be doing. So when you model, they understand what is expected of them and how they should behave in the classroom. And be equitable in all disciplinary matters. That being said, don't favor a student and let them off, and not let another student off when they both did the same misbehaviors. And lastly, this was a topic that I personally find interesting because this is something all teachers do. They give assignments, and how to handle giving assignments. So provide opportunities for collaborative assignments so students aren't sitting there the whole class listening to lecturing. Give them time to begin homework in class. This gives them the opportunity to ask you questions, get any clarification on homework so they don't have stress when they go home. And provide them with models how to do the work. So this could be any classroom assignment, showing them what is expected of them. Explain directions for homework clearly. Like I said earlier, so students don't feel stressed out when they get home. They understand what their homework is. And try giving less work. So from my understanding, that means don't give them busy work where they're overwhelmed and have so much work and it's not relevant to the subject. So I found this book overall very helpful and interesting, and I would love to use all of Burke's suggestion for great classroom management.